Welcome to Engaging Kitsap, a positive local forum where we bring engaging people, ideas, and organizations into our BCAT studio. Today we welcome Barbara Carr and Valerie Rotmark from the Kathleen Sutton Fund, a local grassroots organization reimbursing transportation costs for women with cancer who live in Clallam, Jefferson, Kitsap, and Mason counties. Since 2003, the Kathleen Sutton Fund has helped over 1,700 women and has distributed over $1 million. Welcome, Barbara and Valerie. Will you start off by telling us who Kathleen Sutton was and how the organization got started?
Yeah. Kathleen Sutton was a local businesswoman in Kingston who was diagnosed in 1998 with breast cancer. Her friend Vivienne Parnell helped her travel back and forth to her cancer treatments, and they both realized the cost that were accumulating as far as transportation. So they started the fund. That first year in 2003, 3 women were reimbursed for their transportation costs, basically in northern Kitsap. Since then, it's grown, obviously, to all 4 counties. And Kathleen passed away in 2004 of a breast cancer diagnosis.
How did each of you get involved? What life experiences brought you to Kathleen Sutton Fund?
I had cancer myself, and I went through treatment, and I tolerated it pretty well, but I saw so many women who did not. And I just thought, when I get done here, I'm going to find a way to help. So it just happened.
I was an oncology nurse by trade and saw the financial stress that clients went through going through their treatment, reaching their treatment, and their families also. And I went to a local fundraiser for the Kathleen Sutton Fund, met Vivienne. She recruited me, and I was hooked on it immediately.
Research has shown that financial stress has an impact on health outcomes. What has the research shown, and what did you see with your patients?
The research has shown, and actually Fred Hutch does quite a bit of research on financial stress through cancer treatment, and the outcomes are markedly compromised related to financial stress. And again, it's not just the transportation. Kathleen Sutton Fund serves that little piece of the financial stress, but you also look at job loss, family, and what we see is a lot of women deciding to reach their treatment or pay their rent or bills.
Valerie, why does the Kathleen Sutton Fund focus exclusively on the transportation costs, and how does that address a need in the counties you serve?
One thing that I realized was early on was that transportation is not something that most insurances pay, almost none. And because of where we live and because of the counties that we serve and the distance that women have to travel, it's extremely expensive. And if they can't work, and insurance might pay for their appointments, but they have to get there. And so that's why it's just important that we relieve that tiny little bit of financial stress for them.
And I understand that sometimes insurances will dictate where you have to go to get treated too. And so
they do. It's kind of strange, but they dictate where they go. And we have women who live in Forks who have to go to Seattle. That's where their insurance will pay for them to go. That's a tremendous amount of traveling when you're not feeling well.
Yeah, that's a lot. What specific transportation costs can be covered?
We cover mileage from their home to where they're going for treatment and return. We cover their ferry fares, and we always hope and recommend that they take someone with them. So we pay for their companion, their driver, whatever, and themselves for their ferry. And we pay for parking, which sometimes is very expensive when they're going to Seattle. And we pay bridge tolls, Ubers, taxis, basic get you there and back.
Okay. And can you give us an example of someone undergoing treatment? What kind of, what could the total transportation costs be?
I use that same example of Forks because we've had quite a few women that have had this experience where they've had to take 20, 25 trips to Seattle. It's 280 some miles. every day, and they've done it 5 days a week for 6 weeks.
Wow.
And I think it was, what was it? I'm trying to remember.
It was about $2,800
$2,800
worth of transportation costs.
Wow.
And that also includes parking. So if they go over to Seattle, they have to park.
Right,
so
which
when
we
you
know
add
is
up-
so expensive.
Right. So when you add up the mileage, ferry, parking, it comes to about $2,800.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's like 5,000 miles that they did in 4 or 5 weeks,
Yeah.
all while not feeling well.
Yeah. Yeah. How can a woman apply?
Well, we have a really easy way for them to apply. We have our website. There's a form on there that they can submit, and they can say that they're interested and would like to know more. When they do that, we get the email, and within 24 hours we reach out to them and explain our program and explain how easy it is for them to actually get assistance. Then the only thing we totally need is a diagnosis, or verification of a cancer diagnosis. We do not have a financial requirement. We don't have a time limit of how long we will help women. We don't have a dollar amount limit cap. We just work with them, and we show them how to send us their information after we receive that verification, and then we calculate all the costs, and we send them a check, which they usually receive within 7 to 10 days. And then we tell them how, as long as they're still being actively treated, to continue to submit those on a monthly or every other month basis.
Wow, it sounds like you make it as easy as possible so
We
that
try,
it doesn't
because that's-
add to the difficulty
Absolutely.
of all the paperwork and the other things they have to do to just get their treatment.
If it was too much work, they wouldn't do it, because they just can't.
Right.
And one thing we did implement a few years ago was 6 months retroactive. So if they haven't heard about us, we'll go back and reimburse them for the last 6 months treatment.
Which is huge to a lot of women,
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't reach out until 6 months in, and they realize how much they've spent, and they don't know how they're going to pay going forward.
Right, because it's
So-
not something they're anticipating as they're beginning their treatment.
Right.
So they don't know what to expect until they've already racked up some bills, right?
Right.
How has the Kathleen Sutton Fund grown in the past 20 years?
As I said, that first year, 2003, Kathleen Sutton Fund reimbursed 3 women. Last year, we reimbursed 317
Yay.
women. So this year, I think we're at about 200 women year to date, and at about $80,000. Last year was $165,000. It has grown markedly. And just the 4 counties, starting with North Kitsap and then expanding to the 4 counties.
As you fundraise and you're trying to accommodate an increase in needs in the community, what support does the organization need now in terms of fundraising and maybe for people power?
People power is probably our biggest need right now.
Yeah.
Volunteers and also targeting volunteers throughout the 4 counties is important. Fundraising, we're actually, we've done strategic planning in 2018, 2021. We've developed a sustainability fund, so we do have a sustainability fund to look at the future. And this year we're kind of stepping back, doing some development planning for that fundraising and see how we can better reach the women and also those donors. So the community's been a huge, huge support system through grants. Individuals plan to giving, so we're very thankful.
And are you changing your fundraising strategy at all?
A little bit. We're looking, we kind of took this year to kind of step back again and do development planning, see if we want to focus on fundraising events, primarily our annual gala is what we've had in the past. But again, that takes bodies to plan and support. But we're looking at doing supporters rather than event sponsors, and that would be the community businesses looking at being annual supporters of the fund.
You have a lot of local business support?
We do in the past.
That's great.
Definitely. There's been quite a few businesses supporting and sponsoring events.
Well, how can our viewers learn more about the Kathleen Sutton Fund, your services, the events you mentioned, or volunteering?
They can check our website, follow us on social media, sign up for that supporter role. We'd love to have them.
Well, thank you both for being here. Thank you for helping women with cancer in our community, bringing the Kathleen Sutton Fund and the great work that you do here to Engaging Kitsap. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. You've been watching Engaging Kitsap, a positive local forum where we bring engaging people, ideas, and organizations into the BCAT studio. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.